He said because he was so grateful he had a reputation like that. And the other thing was, I remember this when we lived in Hiawatha. I couldn't be more than 11 or 12 years old. He said, if you make a dime, save a penny. If you make a dollar, save a dime. Those were phrases that he gave me. I don't know if he ever lived by that last one, but I've always tried to live by that. I just had to get that out. It's been on my mind a lot. I thought they were just wonderful things to say to children.
I mean, my concerns for many years just my girls. That was it. Couldn't go on beyond that for anybody. That was it. They turned out pretty damn good. In fact, I was going to see Teresa tomorrow night. They are taking me to a lovely restaurant called Pepper Tree. Bill. I'm so proud of Kevin too.
Uncle Kevin.
A whole lot of great parents in the world who weren't as fortunate as we were.
There's a memory on the icy pond, Ellen and Joyce and I, here in Hiawatha. There was an icy pond down by the creek, and we were down there because there were some old empty buildings. And we were down there on the pond, and Joyce fell through the ice, and Ellen and I pulled her out. I don't know how. We didn't think the ice was thin when we hit on it, but obviously it was. I don't know, I can't remember. It was about a quarter-mile walk to get home, and I really don't know if our parents ever found out that or not. That's the only life I ever saved. I pulled Joyce out of the frozen pond. I was probably 11 or 12. It was before we moved to Price.
Question: why did you leave? What was your intent? Answer: I didn't have any intention, I just wanted to go. The only thing I would have stayed for would have been mother. I just wanted to go. It wasn't a pleasant place to live. I was the family slave. It was the God honest truth. I did it all. I was the housewife of the family. The only thing I didn't do was sleep with the master. I just wanted out. I wanted to go.
Even when the kids would come home, when Guy would come home, I had to wait on him like a master. I had to watch Ellen's kids. I had to take care of everybody. You know, I did it all with a damn smile on my face.
Question: why do you think these responsibilities fell to you? Answer: because I allowed it to happen. I don't know why. I guess because I was an easygoing kid. I guess for the same reason why I lived with a man who drank like a fish and cheated on me and beat the living shit out of me. Low self-esteem, low self-worth.
Question: what did they say when you left? She said, answer: I joined the Navy. I got no reaction, actually. I do remember that when I left, I had to come back for something, and Mama and Mary were laying there crying. I left and they sent me to sick bay, and I was discharged. I had a heart murmur or something.
So did you guys, anybody in here know she joined the Navy?
I had no clue. I was like, is this possible? I never
joined the Navy.
I
to
never
get out.
I thought I heard there were such great stories all the time. How did she never?
Once Joyce had come home, and she was a pretty little thing and dating and having fun. She would come home and had a job and gave Mama $7. Daddy said to give $2 of that to me because I was a slave around the house. I didn't realize this at the time. It's just something I did. Joyce came home and Mama was in bed, and Joyce went in and gave her $7. I reached over and took 2, and Joyce said, "Don't you do that?" And I slapped the hell out of her. We had a really good fight. Mama called Daddy and he broke it up. I was about 14. We had a really good fight.
Question: tell me a nice story about your dad. When I graduated high school, he was proud. I was the first one to graduate. I think the mine was on strike. He went to the store and said, "My little girl is graduating. I want some Samsonite luggage." And he got it on an agreement to pay for it later. He was so proud of that. It made me think he was proud.
The last time I saw Mary, Wayne was at work. An owl came in the house and slapped the hell out of me and bent me over the sink and started choking. Valerie cried and screamed, and Mary pulled him up. Valerie had hold of his pant leg. Mary yelled, "Owl, you son of a bitch. You lay one hand on her. You have to hit me to do it, and Wayne will kill you." He did pick Valerie up and threw her into a chair and slapped her face. I left the next day.
I know when they were little, Mary and I just enjoyed our kids. One Christmas, I decided to go Christmas shopping with all 6 of the kids. I went over to Maywood. Valerie had Carla's hand, Teresa had Stanley's hand. Greg and Guy were old enough to do what I told them. They were great kids. I looked meaner than hell. Maybe that's why they did what I told them.
We never had TV. We had the radio. We would listen to The Shadow. We would take the funny papers and lay them on the floor and listen to the shows and read. And my dad loved Folgers coffee. To this day, that's all I buy is Folgers. Dad loved listening to the news at dinner time. He would listen to Gabriel Peter, listen to him, national news. My dad would say, "Don't ever buy the Maxwell's house stuff. If it's only good to the last drop, I don't want that in my, I don't know what's in that last drop."
I scared your mother Mary to death. I have a mean look on my face. People think I look mad. That's just the way I look. I was ironing, and Mary came in and wanted to do something, and I wasn't going to let her do it. I was kind of her boss. She picked up a broom and accidentally swung it and hit me. I got the meanest look on my face and said, I'm going to kill you, Mary. I was about 15. And to this day, I feel bad for that.
Question. Did the family have any religious customs? We went to church. Daddy never went though. I was baptized and they held their meetings at the Seventh-day Adventist building. But they were Southern Baptists. We could walk to church, but if mom was going, her mom jumped up a porch when she was 7 and busted up both of her feet. So she was very crippled. Okay, so if mom was dad would drive us up. Mother was the secretary of the church for a while. We would go up there and my mother could play any instrument. She was musically inclined and had a beautiful alto voice. Dad would drive us up early. Mama couldn't play the organ because of her feet, pump organ, right? But I would pump the organ with my hands and mama would play that thing like you never believe. She would play the old Christian songs.
Was your dad a spiritual man? I think he believed in God, yes. His stepfather was a minister, Mr. Newton. My dad was 37 when I was born. When their first child died, Guy Eugene, Mom said Dad just turned to religion, or maybe he turned to drink. He was a Mason. Those people are spiritual. I never saw him pray. Even me, when I pray, I do it in my bed by myself, so nobody sees it. My dad may have done that. I don't know. I do think Daddy was a Christian. You can be a Christian without going to church and doing anything like that.
So, wasn't that magical? Just out of her words that she spoke in 2016 that I found out about it this week. And I want to close this time. We have one more little section that we're gonna do. But I want to close this time by telling you a story about mom and praying. She prayed for all her kids and grandkids, like really prayed. She was a prayer. And when she was near the end and her back was fractured in 2 places and she was in so much pain, she would say to me, Teresa, I lay on the couch, because she slept on the couch, and every morning I don't open her eyes because I'm hoping I'm in heaven. And I put my hand up and I say, because she's laying on her side, Jesus, come get me. Here, Jesus, take my hand and get me, take me. And then she goes, Teresa, Jesus is not listening. So she was a remarkable woman of faith. But it was a quiet faith. But we all knew that she was a woman of faith. And so now what we would like to do, we have shared memories of mom that are like from way back out of her own mouth, but we'd like to open up for people for the next little bit. We have about 20 minutes and just open it up for all of you, but we're going to kick it off with a memory from our cousin Mary, who wrote this and sent it to me to be shared. So Mary Jean is going to be the first one to share.
Mary Jean, if you're on, here we go. My brothers and I were raised in a children's home in Arkansas. We were put there when our mother died and our father abandoned us with his mother, who was unable to care for us. There were 4 of us. We were also poor. None of us could take 4 kids in. We grew up knowing our father's side of the family, I guess because they lived closer in Arkansas. I don't remember any contact with my mother's side of the family until I was in 5th grade. That was when our grandpa Curb came to visit. I remember he smoked cigars and drove us around while visiting. My next memory of the Curb family was when our oldest brother Eddie was able to go to California for a visit. We all had hope to go and to meet them all one day. But when Eddie came back, he ran away. So they blamed it on the visit and didn't allow us to go. As an adult, I did some searches on the internet to find the Curb family and was able to get a phone number for Guy Curb Jr. He had dementia, and his wife told him that all his siblings had passed away and he was the only one left. So I didn't think much more about it. However, one day I came home from work and there was a message on our answering machine, and it was Aunt Marty. Guy Jr.'s wife had saved our phone number and had given it to Aunt Marty when he died. She called. We, my brothers and I, have been so blessed to connect with Aunt Marty and Aunt Mary. Aunt Marty was a very special lady in many ways. She was very strong and yet gentle and compassionate. She took charge and got things done. She built others up to make sure they knew they were valuable. She had spunk. I always imagined or hoped our mom was like Aunt Marty. I can tell you how often I think of Aunt Mary. I miss her sense of humor and her wisdom. I was able to get her oral history. This is how we found out about this. That she shared with Robert and have read it several times. What a blessing she was to me personally. I love her.
Thanks, Sissy.
So we're just gonna open up the floor. We have some time. So who wants to go first? I know once Stephen, come on up here. We have to face the Zoom because people on Zoom have to hear. So make sure you project so they can hear.
All right, so one thing that I know is that Granny has done a lot of things for me and my family. I would always make sure to spend a lot of time with her. And I'm gonna tell you guys 2 stories that have happened with me. Beamer was in one of them. So we were going home from going out to eat one day. So when we got back in the car, she handed me a GPS. Now that was probably the biggest mistake she could have ever made, because on our whole way back, If they went 1 mile per hour over, I would be like, you are speeding. And then they would both just sit there really annoyed, but they were always patient with me. Now, the other story that I have is I would spend a lot of time with her over the last year. I would go to her house at least twice a week, check up on her, make sure she's doing well. I'd go shopping with her. The one thing we really liked to do was go around the block in the little red car. We would do that probably for like 2 hours.
So he could drive.
Yes, every time that I was there, we would do that in a circle. And yeah, so that's my 2 stories. I also want to make sure that everybody knows this is my grandma.
It'll come back on. You can't put your hand up there. It makes it turn on.
There it is.
That Granny right here, she has done a lot for me and my family, and I know that you guys all love her, so I want to thank you guys for coming today.
But I have a lot of memories of grandma, but there's one. We loved her in spite of her cooking abilities. She was not a gourmet chef. And 1 year, me and Steve and our girls, when they were much younger, came for a visit, and she's like, "Oh, I remember how much you love canned tamales, so I made." I do not like canned tamales. I've never claimed to like. Is there one of my siblings that maybe liked canned tamales that she made that mistake? Because they're really disgusting. She knocked one down because I did not want her grandma's feelings. But I think we probably should just stuck to pizza. So, and also getting to come up here with my grandson, their great grandson, and getting to see both of my grandparents meet him. And then coming up again when we had grandpa's celebration, and getting to see grandma with him a little bit older and him being able to interact. I have those pictures and I'll be able to look at them forever. And that was so special. And that's all I got.
Brendan is wearing a sweater from Grandpa.
Oh, it is.
So, hello. So, I loved Granny. He was absolutely amazing. So, one time while we were at our house, we loved to, we often did watermelon days where we went there when we went outside of her house. It had a watermelon, and with my family and Granny and Poppy, and sometimes other people too. However, one time they tricked me into trying watermelon with salt, tricking me into thinking it's sugar. So I did not like it. Yeah. I enjoyed every time I got to stay at Granny's house. I love spending time with her.
So just so you guys know, the watermelon thing, go ahead and sit down. So one of the family things that she talked about in Robert's history was her family sat outside and ate watermelon.
She continued that.
That's yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Because every time we would come to visit, you always had a watermelon.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So Mom started this tradition of Christmas stockings. Every kid would have a Christmas stocking, and she would put all kinds of little trinkets and things like that in there. And for years, she put chocolate covered cherries in my Christmas stocking. I do not like Christmas chocolate covered cherries.
See?
Right along the same line with the big mom. Did you fly this out her? Because
Like-
what have you, chocolate covered cherries is like,
I would have eaten them.
anyways, the heart was so big and that tradition continues. In our home today.
Not the chocolate colored cherries.
I'm gonna tell a quick story from my son, because he's not here. My mom came to visit us in Texas and my son had come by my house and they were sitting on the porch and everybody's visiting and my mom would look over at my son and say, "Hey, Greg." He'd look and she'd go. And my son would go. Everybody keep talking and my mom would go. She'd go. About 4 times and my dad caught her the 4th time. And her response was, and you have to ask yourself, her response was, "I'm so sorry, Bill. I know I promised I wouldn't do that anymore."
Love that one.
Oh, we'll try to it.
Richard's after Melissa.
I remember, and this story involves cousin Lisa.
Oh, yes, I know which one you're talking about.
So it was a time when all of you guys were visiting California, little kids, and Lisa and I loved to dress alike. And we had these matching t-shirts and
We went shopping to get
Yes.
matching shirt.
Grandma took us shopping to get matching. And we went to, was it Disney or Six Flags?
Knott's Berry Farm.
Knott's Berry Farm. The whole kit and caboodle of us, all these kids.
Lots of us.
And Grandma and Grandpa were getting ready to leave in the evening. They were gonna take Dougie with them, because he was little and he was tired. And my thing when I was little was getting separated from my family in amusement parks. I did a lot. And that had happened, so I wasn't with the group. And after Granny and Poppy had left to go home, they realized I wasn't with them. And Grandma couldn't believe it. She said, "But I remember I kissed all the grandkids goodbye. I kissed Missy goodbye." And then she went, "Oh my Lord, I must have kissed Lisa twice."
Oh my God, I haven't thought about that in years. That's so funny.
But yeah, Granny and Poppy were so great. And all of you who married into the family know that the second you were part of the family, you were part of the family. And you were her grandkids just as much as us. And my husband's grandparents all had passed away before he was born or when he was too little to remember. And so for close to 18 years, he got to experience having grandparents. And I know that they did that for some of y'all too, and that they just loved you so much.
So now I'm glad I got to go behind her. So for people that's on Zoom, my name's Richard Durant, and I am married into the family. So, and I will tell you that they were the most accepting people I think I've ever met. Of everybody from when I was really, really fat. She didn't have no problem telling me I was really fat. And we would come up and, I'd bring my friends up here from Granbury that they had no clue who they were, but I bring my friends up here and she'd put us up, let us stay, and we go run our Spartan races. We'd come back in filthy and muddy, and she just took us in, whether it be my friends, my uncle would come up here. We'd come up here several times without even the married side of the family. We just come by ourselves, and they still took us in and do everything. And Teresa said something about behind the scenes. They like to bicker and argue and stuff behind the scenes. And I've already told this kind of story once between the last celebration, but one of the times I saw them bicker, it still gets to me this day. And I don't remember what happened in the story, but we were sitting in the living room at Christmas, and I said something, and she looked right at me and called me a fart face. And then Paul jumped up like, these 2 people were amazing people, and I love both of them, and they're going to be greatly missed. And when you were considered family, I'm telling you, and I'm married into it, I was considered family. So, and I appreciate it. They were great people. Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
wanted to add a little perspective from across the street. Because what was amazing to me to find out was that I grew up in a little town in central Utah called Perry. Over the mountain, less than an hour away is Price in Hiawatha, where Marty grew up. So we kind of had that little connection. It took me 50 years, the time I left home, to find Marty again. And all that time went by, and we moved in 10 years ago. And my son, who lives in Colorado Springs, while we had closed on the home, but we hadn't moved there yet, he would watch the home for us. And he called up one day and he says, "You would not believe the two people across the street." He said, "Bill, his name is Bill, and he came over and he helped me with this, anything you need." And he said, "Well, I felt like we'd known them all our whole life." That's how we felt. When we moved in, Bill would offer anything he had, any tools, anything. Just help yourself. And I remember a really heavy snowstorm, and I went over to help him shovel off his driveway, and he said, "No, that's okay. This I do for my own well-being. I have to be working." And he said, "So I don't want to tell you to go away, but I want to shovel my own driveway." And sometimes it would take him all day, one shovelful at a time, even into his 90s, and he would shovel that driveway. And I so admired him. I just felt like, "Gosh, Bill, you have a snowblower. I'd be happy to run that for you." And he wouldn't let me. And finally I went over and I said, "Bill, I love machinery. I would love to play with your snowblower. Would you let me play with it?" Okay, and so finally I got to blow off his driveway. But the greatest measurement of character of a person is through my dogs. They know good people. And sometimes my one dog is pretty friendly, and other times she won't have anything to do with anyone. So we would go over when Marty would be sitting out in front of the garage in her chair. My dog would love her to the point where I said, "Where did she go? Where did my dog go?" "She's up in the house." And Marty didn't care. And so when we would visit with Marty and Bill, all I had to do was say, "Who's this?" on a picture, and away she'd go that way. And I'd say, "Now tell me about away she'd go." And I got to know her so she was
Great stories.
her stories were fabulous. We were just enthralled with them. They were so giving, and we became close friends with Joy and gosh, your family, Jeff, and then Michaela became our like adopted daughter. We got to see Michaela because she has some close friends that we're friends with, and there's just that connection there. And to see her out there, I thought at first she just loves to sit out there on a beautiful summer day, and they would be looking towards our home. And all this time I thought it was because she enjoyed having her family there. I think it was because she liked spying on us and has something to talk about. But we dearly, dearly missed them. That was the
I will say though, Grandma and Grandpa always talked about what great neighbors they had and how blessed they were to have the neighbors they had.
We were the ones that were blessed so much. And we looked across the street to the home. There's a young family in there. They're wonderful.
I was up there earlier.
Yes, they're wonderful, but they're
I didn't visit with them. I just had to go up there and stop one last time.
and see the house.
One last time.
They're not Marty and Bill. But they're wonderful family, but oh, how we love them. I told Bill one day, I said, "Bill, I want to be just like you when I grow up." And I still think that he's a man of character. Marty was the sweetest, kindest heart of anybody. I just felt like we were always part of the family. And we deemed it an honor. Thank you.
Go ahead then. We're gonna close it down here real quick, so you gotta hurry, because we have food to eat too.
I had lunch, so y'all can sit. I'm not hungry yet, which is a shocker if you knew me as a child. We've said that they're the most accepting people ever, and if you had met my ex-girlfriend back in the day, you'd know it's true because they were always nice to her.
That's true.
Very-
Wait, was that true?
Yeah. It was opposite day when she was born. That's how she got that.
That's
I'm blind, and so is stupidity and homelessness. But yeah, stories, man. The story. It's crazy. So probably my favorite story of Grandma was Mom mentioned the 80th birthday party. Ever since I moved overseas, which was 2009, I had a dream of like coming back and like surprising everybody, just showing up on the door, being like, ta-da! But I had no money, so that.
And you needed a ride from me.
A ride from the airport helps too. So, but Grandma was turning 80, and she didn't expect me to come because I had no money. And then Mom and Dad were like, "Hey, we want to fly you over for the birthday, but we're not going to tell anybody. We're not going to tell Grandma." I'm thinking, I hope it doesn't like kill her. She always says, she's like, "I don't want to turn 80, but that's better than the alternative."
Yeah.
And I've adopted that saying in my life. People are like, "Oh man, I'm turning 40." I'm like, "It's better than the alternative." I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" But the memory, I guess, that sticks with me real hard is there's a magnet on the fridge that said "Kiss the cook." So Grandma be cooking, and little Dougie would wander in there, and I want that, and so I'd get a kiss from Grandma. And so I was so fast. Then there. I'll be there, right? I've been practicing this for like a week. But after she passed, I wrote something on Facebook, and after that, I was all emotional, of course, and everything. And then my wife wasn't there when I wrote it because I wanted to do it alone. And she came back from she was at Bible study. She came back, so I let her read it, and then she vanished. Where'd my wife go? Okay, so like I'm sitting here like in a moment of need, I'm abandoned. And then she comes back with something wrapped in paper. So I opened it up, and when I was here back in December, we got to go into the house to kind of look around, say goodbye. I got to get Grandpa's old electrical tools because I'm the only electrician in the family. So I have his electrical books from his trade school, and I have his multimeter, his wiggy, screwdrivers, and different things for him. So, but that magnet, I just couldn't take it off the fridge. So, and then. So Nadia came back in the living room and with this thing, and I opened it up, and it was one of the mugs that they have for drinking beer, thin beer, just like the thin coffee. And I was like, "Oh wow!" And so she snatched one of those without me knowing, and then inside the mug was this magnet.
Oh.
And so now I have that on my stitch.
Woo. Come on, Jeff.
All right. Mine's not very long, it's short. So Grandma used to have this sign up hanging in the dining room that said, she got it with Grandpa and said, "We've been through a lot together, and most of it was your fault." But so Grandma used to keep us when we were kids for a weekend, about 2-3 times a year they'd keep us. So it's usually Melissa and I, and Mark and Doug for us close in age. My grandma and grandpa bought me my first pocket knife, and when we're looking at it at Target, I'm like, "Yeah, I want this." And Grandpa's like, "You sure that your parents are okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, they're totally fine with it." Never. I did. I covered it. Bled all over the wall, covered it up. Mom and Dad never knew about that either. And then, so one time, Grandma just used to love to tell this story. We'd gone, they'd always take us out. We get a set of clothes, and we get some sort of a toy. So I was way into Legos. So Grandma and Grandpa and Bobby used to set of Legos, and we're back at the house. And they used to have a family room way back down the hall at the back of the house. And I'm sitting back there at the little counter doing my Lego set. And Melissa's walking around. She's like 2.5, 3. And she walks through and just plops down to the ground and starts screaming. And Grandma walks back there and goes, "Missy, what's wrong?" And she goes, "Zephly, push me down." Grandma goes, "You little snot, I was sitting down the hall and I watched you just plop down here, but you're gonna blame your brother?"
Yes.
Oh, she loved it all the time. Almost as good as the time she cut that lady's hair off. I'll tell the story.
Oh.
You all got.
Okay, I'm just gonna tell this story and then we're gonna go eat. My mom, she said that her husband cheated on her. So he was cheating with the neighbor. And the neighbor had this long blonde ponytail and she'd walk around with her hair. And mom went out. We lived in a trailer park, coal mining, uranium mine. My mom went out, she took her down. Tackled her in her own front yard. Tackled her right in the front yard. She sat on her back. She pulled a pair of scissors out from her sleeve. She grabbed that ponytail and she cut it out off under the rubber band. She held it up. She said, "You're never gonna see this in my husband's face again." She was thirsty. She was feisty. And we love that story. Like, I love that story. So Steve, can you come up and just close us in prayer and bless the food? We have food out in the kitchen, sandwiches and just finger food, you know, but a time for fellowship.
Thank you, Father God, for just a wonderful woman in our lives. The great memories, the laughs, the cries, all of it. We miss her, you enjoy her. We sure do. Thank you for this whole family and putting this all together. And we treasure it beyond all. Bless the food and the rest of this time in Jesus' name. Amen.
Food is over here. Jenna, our wonderful reporter, gal about it already.
You need to say it again.
Do you want me to play?
Oh, could it play one more time?
Oh, yes. Let's play the slide show. We have to change the.
Okay, and I noticed the door frame cats in one of those. I have the pair of the door frame cats, and they are named Bill and Martha. The one dangling off the side is Bill, and Martha's up top. And it depends on the day whether she's going over there to help him or whether she knocks him. They've got a whole story. That's amazing. Wow.
I have the splendid orange cat. Ash has the little gal. She's playing it for you. That's a gal. Now, it's on for you.
We were all.
I remember when y'all did that. I was at the car parked in front of their house with a flashing on, standing in the road. And I'm like, anybody looks after them. I'm like, oh. Well, I know I'm weird. It's fun. Weird time. If I go up to somebody and I'm like weirdo, they just say, yeah. Like what we got, like, you know, stuff. And then I grab oh, well, they down the green. They have so many little. That picture. Out. She's like, oh, no. I never get and I love that picture with her. I that was six. Yeah, okay, let's go. I love that one. I'm so much younger and better.
Which was. Right.
Yes.
Oh.
And like somehow.
These are so stuff. Jeff was. I didn't think you promised you that. Yeah. Yeah. I was. But, I mean, yeah, so by the time that's third generation. Sure. It's all. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Actually. So that's. So we'll have.
Emotional. He's so tiny.